In a sunny meadow, a clever rabbit named Clover was known for her magnificent carrot garden. Through careful planning, clever tricks to deter pests, and hard work, her harvest was always the most abundant in the valley. As autumn approached, Clover gathered every single carrot. She stored them in a deep, hidden burrow, feeling proud and secure. "This will see me through the hardest winter," she thought, counting her orange treasure. A young field mouse, shivering slightly, approached her. "Please, Miss Clover," he squeaked. "The frost came early and ruined our seeds. Could you spare just one carrot for my family?" Clover, fearing scarcity, shook her head. "I must look after myself first," she said firmly. More animals came with similar pleas. A family of hungry hedgehogs, a lost deer, a flock of birds who couldn't find worms. Each time, Clover refused. Soon, the other animals stopped visiting her part of the meadow altogether. She was safe, but she was lonely. A sudden, deep frost froze the ground solid weeks earlier than expected. Clover was snug in her burrow with her carrots. But as she nibbled on one, she found it didn't taste as sweet as it usually did. The joy of eating alone had faded. The ancient oak tree at the meadow's edge, who had seen many winters, rustled its few remaining leaves. "A harvest stored is a life secure," it whispered, "but a heart that doesn't share is a garden that doesn't grow." Clover pondered the tree's words. She realized her hoarding had built a wall between her and her community. She had carrots, but she had no one to share stories with, no one to warn her of dangers, and no one to care if she was okay. One morning, Clover made a brave decision. She couldn't bring back the seeds lost to the frost, but she could share what she had. She dragged a large carrot out into the open and left it near the mouse's hole. The field mouse family discovered the carrot. Their joyous squeaks echoed through the quiet meadow. They didn't know who had left it, but they were immensely grateful. Inspired by the anonymous gift, the mice decided to share a part of it with the hedgehogs, who had a harder time foraging. The hedgehogs, in turn, used their strong noses to find a few forgotten berries for the birds. A spark of kindness had been lit. The animals, who had been isolated in their own struggles, began to check on each other. The meadow, though cold, began to feel warmer. The mouse saw Clover leaving another carrot a few days later. The news spread quickly. It was the clever rabbit, the one they thought was selfish, who had started the chain of kindness. One by one, the animals came to Clover's burrow. But they didn't come to ask for food. They came to thank her. They brought small gifts, a beautifully woven grass blanket from the mice, a perfectly round stone from the hedgehogs, a song from the birds. The deer, whose sharp hooves could break the icy ground, offered to dig up a new, larger storage space for Clover. The birds offered to stand watch for pests when spring came. Clover's generosity had bought her something far more valuable than carrots: security through friendship. Clover realized her carrots wouldn't last forever if she shared them, but she was no longer afraid. She invited everyone to a midwinter feast. They all contributed what little they had, and it was the most joyful meal the meadow had ever seen. As she looked around at the laughing, sharing animals, Clover understood. True wealth wasn't measured by the size of your hoard, but by the strength of your community. A shared carrot tasted infinitely sweeter than a hoarded one.